pattern of putting other people's needs ahead of your own? If you answered yes, are you ready for your relationships to energize you and uplift you instead of draining you and bringing you down? Welcome to the Universal Love Story. I am Lauren K. Wyatt, love psychic, illusion dismantler, and owner of Love Renegades. We are going to dive deep into the law of sacrifice. This law of love separates us from love by telling us that sacrifice is love. In this episode, you will become aware of how you can break the law of sacrifice and feel loved and joyful and supported in your relationships. In watching this video, as we explore the law of sacrifice, you will see how Kiki really does break the law of sacrifice, and as a result, she creates so much love, more than she had when she was doing all that sacrificing. Society tells us to sacrifice. We see it all the time. It's all over the place that to sacrifice is to be a good person. And there are so many places where we see that sacrifice is love. And you know what? I need to disagree with this, and I need to publicly talk about this. Because when we constantly sacrifice, we are putting other people ahead of us. And when we do that, that can leave you feeling depleted. It can leave you feeling resentful. And it also sends out a powerful message to the universe and energetically to other people that you don't matter and that you don't care about yourself. And that is not loving at all.
What does your best love life or dream relationship look and feel like to you?
I think it feels playful and very relaxed, and I think a soul connection where I can be intuitive of my partner's feelings and his emotions, so I can make decisions based on just not me and also just like both of us.
On a scale of 1 to 10 right now, with 1 being like the least and 10 being the most, how much does your current love life reflect what you just described?
Could say 5 out of 10.
So many people are drawn to you, and because you have like this empathy and this like desire to help people that we're going to talk more about in just a minute, sometimes you may forget to check in with yourself
That's true.
on like, do I want to spend time with this person? You know, it's like,
That's so true.
like you may not even like check in, like, how do I feel when I'm around this person?
Yeah. That happens a lot. Yeah.
Someone with your gifts of divine love, because like a huge aspect of who you are, you're so giving, and you love to give to people. You love to help people feel better. It's such a huge part of who you are. But what happens is if you don't set boundaries, and if you don't, really check in with the experience that you want in your relationships, or how you want to be treated in your relationships, what can happen is that you can get taken advantage of. So setting boundaries is actually really powerful for you because it allows you to receive the love that you give. For you, giving is your comfort zone.
It is.
Yeah. And receiving, not so much.
I hardly want to receive.
Well,
like half the time I know one of the I remember having this conversation recently, and it was, I think, with my partner, and I think it was more of, so what would you want to do, or what would you like? And I said, I want you to be happy. Like, it wasn't like I want to feel a certain way. And we just kept like going back and forth, like, what do you want to feel? I'm like, I want to feel happy when you're like, it was just about the other person.
If
Mm-hmm.
you want to really receive the type of love that you give, then like it's time to really check in with what you want. What happens is when divine love doesn't let herself or himself, but we'll focus on you. When you don't let yourself receive, what
Yeah.
happens is that you can go into burnout
Yeah.
like really fast, where it's just like, I'm going to like just be in my bed for like days because your
Yeah.
body like hurts, and that's because you haven't let yourself receive. Then also for you, it's okay to say no and to set boundaries with yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Like be responsible. Like, yes, you love giving, and you know, you can put boundaries on yourself. Like, this is what I can do.
Mm,
And this is what I will do today.
mm,
And then tomorrow I will do this.
okay.
But anything beyond that, no, because I get to have time to recharge and love myself. It'll feel uncomfortable at first, but you'll feel so much better. Because what happens is if you continue this cycle, you're going to get really resentful. And
Okay.
you'll start lashing out at people, and then
I
you'll get
think
really
I've,
bitter. Have you been in that?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
what
think,
happens.
yeah, I've had a bit of that.
So if you're choosing to sacrifice and you talk yourself into thinking that that's okay, then that's not a loving choice, because that hurts you
Yeah.
and you matter. And then guess what? You just create a lot more sacrifice. You'll get more.
Okay.
But this is all things you're going to be actively working on through our time together in the
Okay.
universal love story. So,
Like,
yeah.
my water is in a wine bottle.
Oh, I love
So,
I love you're like, so don't judge. Whatever.
yeah. So it's a way of like recycling the bottles. So we do
I
like
think that's
beads.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And it
really
makes me drink.
pretty.
Yeah.
Those are
There.
cool. I like those.
I have some of my women making some of these. Yeah.
Real like, yeah, so you tell me just like really briefly, and we'll get into it more later. Can you tell me a little about what you do in Nairobi?
So initially, I was, running it as a social enterprise for women and
Mm-hmm.
teaching them like business and entrepreneurial skills. And these are women from the underserved backgrounds in the slums and rural Kenya.
Wow.
So what I did is I designed a toolkit that sort of just makes them understand business in their language. And they can be able to innovate and grow their businesses beyond where they are.
I would love to support what you're doing.
Yeah.
On the outside, it looks like, oh, Kiki is such a nice person. She's Saint Kiki. She sacrifices, and you probably receive lots of rewards and recognition for your sacrifice. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Because the theme of recognition is a huge theme that your soul came here to experience. Recognition. So you actually you don't have to sacrifice to receive that recognition. People may not approve of you at first. But once things are on track, you'll get your recognition. Does it make sense?
It does. Actually, it does.
When we're going through times of extreme chaos and stress and uncertainty, it is not unusual for us to forget about ourselves, because so much in our life can appear to really need our attention. As Kiki connects with us about the elections going on in Kenya and all of the stress that's around her, it's really important for her to remember to take care of herself. And if you're watching this and thinking, well, I don't live in Kenya, how does this pertain to me? I can tell you that there are probably things in your life that are chaotic and stressful, things that you feel like you always have to address before you can address your own needs. And if this is you, then I think it's freaking awesome that you're watching this video because you made time to do that.
Well, it is August 10th, 2017. I believe it's just a little after 7 p.m. your time, and it's 11 a.m. my time. And you're not physically present or virtually present with me at this moment. From what I can gather, there's been an election over there, and with the correspondence we've had, you have communicated to me about the tension that the election process brings. As I looked to see what the media was saying, I saw that there were riots and that there's a lot of unrest about the results of the election. A huge part of this gift of love that you have is about setting boundaries. And in this case, it's just choose what you want to experience and how you want to respond to whatever is occurring right now in your life. And right now, Kiki, one of the guides that... Hi, Kiki!
Hi.
I didn't know if you were going to be able to be present because of everything that's happening right now.
Oh, well, I'm here.
Can you tell me what's been happening in your life since we last connected?
Yeah, so from our last call, I think I traveled to the village. It was less strenuous because I had a really tight schedule and I couldn't really make time to see my mom for an extended period. But I mean, we spent an evening together and another, like 2 sessions together. And normally I'd go home and sleep. But I mean, I was feeling really stretched out. And I just told her I'm not going to be able to make it. She actually understood. This was one instance where I really didn't feel strained, or rather I didn't feel the need to just go out and push myself. Like I made a conscious decision to stop myself. I just need to set a boundary. She seemed okay. Like I was like, okay, let's just move away from this. It's okay. Like we're grown-ups. I don't need to do things the same way every time. And she was fine. And she's okay. Like, I think I don't know. I don't feel that strain or that resistance. Like, I just feel I can tell her no. By the time we got back, everything was okay. And I was like, okay. So just making that small decision didn't create like a ripple effect. Because that's usually like what stops me, because I'm like, it's going to create a ripple effect and people are not going to be happy. And people were okay with it. And I was shocked.
Sometimes when we're in the middle of creating a new circumstance for ourselves, things can come up that we don't really like about ourselves. Different feedback that we would consider negative can come to our attention. And if this is your experience with anything, I would ask you to really look within on how you can respond to the feedback that you get. And what I am referring to is when I addressed Kiki being late and missing her sessions with me. It wasn't done from a place to say, gotcha, I know that she has a lot going on. I know that you have a lot going on. It's a way to really get you in touch with things that you're doing that don't ultimately serve you in loving yourself, and then in turn being the most loving person that you are, and then having that love given back to you in your relationships. So in how we respond to what we might think is like criticism or negative feedback, it doesn't mean that we have to take it on. We can just look at it and say, is this useful? Do I want to continue being late? Do I want to continue feeling stressed out? And if the answer is no, then it's time to respond in a new way and make a new choice.
Hi, Lauren. How are you? I guess I'd have to start by apologizing for actually not making it for the call today. I guess it's just listening and actually watching a video, listening to a mini reading, made me realize that I was, I guess, subconsciously making the decision not to really commit today. I guess it's been a very emotional week from the last time that we spoke. I think we spoke right after the elections, and there'd been many things that happened. So in terms of family, I live right next to one of the hot zones, and there was a lot of chaos, and I guess the police was, they were here, the roads were closed off, and there was a lot going on. I was basically not able to leave the house for like 3-4 days. It took a toll on me the whole week trying to figure out how to deal with this in the Kiki way. And I got home, and all that could just cross my mind was my sixth senses, because I felt that these were the things that I had control over. It was difficult because I came home and had had such a bad day, and I guess I told my partner, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a bad week with the family thing and all the crazy things that have been happening. But today I got in touch with the gifts that I have, the gifts that life itself has to offer for me without having to demand for anything in return. He looked at me and said, so what is the negative effect that this is going to have to our relationship? And I remember on Tuesday, I was ready to walk out because I felt I wasn't being supported, because the most positive thing to me, to him, was the most negative thing. And I guess this probably culminates to having our session today as not something I would want to look forward to, because I guess it hurts. I want to feel light on my feet. I want it to be because I could hear the birds sing, could feel the earth under my feet. I could touch or be touched and actually appreciate that.
So often we can compare ourselves to other people. And this can be done in a way of like, oh, I don't have what she has or he has. But it can also be when we notice that other people are not as loving or as thoughtful as we are. And this can really hurt our hearts, and it can separate us from love as well. And this can cause you to want to sacrifice more and more and want to give more and more to show other people how you would like them to behave and how you want them to behave like you. And this just doesn't work. And if you're experiencing this, maybe acknowledge that you are a helpful person and a giving person, and that maybe these other people aren't. And you can set a boundary, you can start doing things differently, you can ask for help, but it's time to do something different. Just whatever you do, don't keep doing what you've been doing if you're constantly sacrificing and overgiving and hoping that you can set an example for people.
Kiki, how are you?
Okay, I'm good. I think the hardest thing is finding the best way to love, but also create boundaries to stay hurt. Because initially I would just continue loving despite being hurt, and this would hurt me even more. So I'm doing something that's really hard for me internally, and this is just being honest with the people around me that this hurt.
Sometimes we wish that we didn't take things as personally, especially with how you're made, Kiki. You're divine love. And what happens is if you're not feeling supported, which I don't think you have been feeling supported lately, like you've been, like your country is going through a trauma, and you're having some issues like in your home life right now, and you're also like kind of looking at everything and you're seeing, I need better boundaries, and these things are happening, and it's like you want people to act a certain way, but they're not going to be able to support you if they don't know what you would like from them.
It's true. Yeah.
I do want to talk about you and your boyfriend. So how did that end up turning out?
I guess I don't want to make any rash decisions.
Yeah.
I'm sort of trying to take time to connect with him, because for me it was more of a sort of like 2 steps forward, and I just 10 steps back with the relationship. Yet in my life itself, I was taking 10 steps ahead. On a personal level, I was growing and I was getting stronger and being more grounded. It was a shocker because I think one day I just went to the forest as usual and sat and listened to music and read a book. And so he was very negative about it. And he was like, so this means our relationship doesn't make you happy? Is this all about you? I'm not sure what I think about your outlook with life. Then he says, I feel like you're, building walls. And I'm like, I'm not building walls. I'm setting boundaries. Where previously, if you wanted me to eat a pizza, this is me being very raw about it. I'd be like, yes, I'm going to eat a pizza because I know you love pizzas in as much as I hate pizzas. But now, if he says, let's have a pizza, and I haven't eaten all day, I'd be like, you know what? You have a pizza. I'll have some mushrooms. And he's like, I've been so used to you just not resisting. But now he feels like me setting boundaries is a resistance. So that was like, it was very tough. He probably just doesn't understand. So could I try and help him understand, not make him understand, help him. And if there's still more resistance, then this means that I've been in my relationship the wrong way. Maybe my relationship was fine because I wasn't resisting or I didn't have boundaries, and this made it okay for me to be in a relationship with him. But if I'm setting boundaries and it's creating some sort of resistance and negative energy, maybe it's not the right thing to do.
What I would invite you to do, because you've told me some things about your partner, and I know that you love him. So instead of like just abandoning ship and leaving the relationship right now, it could be very much worth a conversation, and you have this gift of empathy. He's like freaking out at you just because you don't want to eat pizza. And why he's upset that you're gaining more independence, because he feels like, because in the past he's offered you like security and love and protection, and he's like, oh my gosh, if she's like finding security in herself, then what does this mean about me? Then what do I contribute to the relationship? Heightening this with what is happening in Kenya with the elections and all of the energy that you all are just like in the middle of. So you guys do get to lean on each other during this time. So you just get to tell him, I understand. I'm connecting with myself in this way that I haven't experienced before. And just because I don't like pizza doesn't mean that I don't like you. It means that we both enjoy our own food. You enjoy your pizza. I'll do my thing. We can try new things together. But I would really appreciate it if you just loved me through this period of self-discovery that I'm going through right now. Because you can just let them know, I'm not going back to the person who just did everything that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen. So if you want to, reinvent our relationship with me, and if you can accept me for having a different way of doing things, then great. And if not, then, we need to look at our other options.
I guess the best thing that I've experienced so far is the fact that I've been able to build boundaries around myself. For the first time, to be able to think about me before everybody else and not feel bad about it.
By saying no, it sends this message to the universe that you are well aware that you matter and that you're going to nurture yourself. And what you'll find is that when you love yourself and nurture yourself, other people are empowered by that. It doesn't always happen right away.
Yeah, true. And I had the talk,
Mm-hmm.
and
The breakup conversation.
Yeah, I had the breakup conversation, and I guess so. He was like, I'm really sorry that I said that I wanted the old you, and I want, so the fact that he alluded to the past and wasn't embracing the person that I was becoming with boundaries. And initially I'd be very okay with saying, it's okay. The fact that you apologize means that it's okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so when he asked, so what do you want? I said, I'm not okay in this relationship. I'm not happy. Initially, I think I would have been guilty. And I would have really just accepted to, give this another shot with the thought of, I feel bad and he's apologizing, and I was like, there's that part of me that needs support and I'm not getting that from you. He still isn't angry at me. And he's still a bit, every single day you can see that he's trying to really work on it. But he said, I really don't want you to push yourself to work on it because I feel like we have outgrown this relationship and we did great things and we're still good friends. But I don't think the next phase of my life is going to be with you. I love you as my friend, and this person I've had a great time with. It's just I'm not getting the support, and it's not just financial or it's just not even emotional support. It's just something deeper that I feel is lacking.
Like, you're someone you're going to want to make it better.
Yeah.
But you're also being true to yourself, and he's not going to give you permission to leave him. Like, he may accept it, but he's never going to really like that choice. And
Yeah.
This is something that's so important for you to really embrace as you move forward and create other relationships or in leadership in your career or with your friends or whatever, is that sometimes the choice that is so like it's true to you and your heart and your vision and the person you're becoming, some people are not aligned to that, and like they'll argue with you or tell you you're wrong, or in this case it's like they think that they're on board but they're really just not there.
Kiki continues to be a leader in her community, and she continues to break the law of sacrifice daily. How does this law of love affect you? I would love to hear from you. Please leave any of your comments with your insights and experiences and questions, and join us in the Revolt for Love Love Revolution.
Coming up on the next episode of the Universal Love Story.
I am living in Austin, Texas now. I moved here from Ohio back in February. And it's definitely been a roller coaster since then. I've had some very low lows, dealt with a lot of depression. I've been dealing with disordered eating. I've been dealing with body dysmorphia. I've been dealing with anxiety, depression, you name it. I have felt it. I have been through it. I have been in that place where it seemed like there was just not light at the end of the tunnel, and I really I wanted to give up. I was really sick of doing all of this healing work and feeling like I was just not making any progress. I am ready to heal my limiting beliefs. Those nagging beliefs that say that I'm not good enough and that I don't deserve to have what I want. The belief that I don't deserve to be happy, that I'll never be successful, that I have to be perfect in order to be loved. And I'm really ready to transcend all of my self-sabotaging behavior and start to really listen to my intuition instead of ignoring what it tells me, so that I can stay on the path that I have so desperately wanted to be on. I'm really ready to experience total unconditional love. I'm ready to be valued and to feel safe to be loved, and to not let fears around abandonment sabotage the relationship. What does my dream relationship look and feel like? Whenever I ask myself this question, the first word that comes to me is just total bliss. It just feels happy and it feels safe, and there's no grasping or clinging or need to figure out what's going to happen or where it's going, just because it's calm and it's supportive.